but hopefully some people will pop on soon. Hi, my name is Nick Cartell, and welcome to ThNOT, ThNOT on tour. And that's my daughter in the background.
Hi.
Okay.
I broke the house.
Yeah,
That's okay, we'll fix it
We'll
later.
fix it. Hi, everybody. So welcome to ThNOT. Welcome to ThNOT on tour. I use Thursday nights as an educational way of looking into the show and what goes on with everybody and what it takes to put on a show like this. And I'm very fortunate to have, well, why don't you introduce yourself? Please introduce yourself and say who you are and what your relationship is within our company.
Sure. So my name is Lindsay. Tonight I'm hanging out with that cutie pie. Hey.
Because Mom, my wife, is in New York, so we have to have somebody backstage to watch her during the show.
Yeah.
So luckily,
we're family. We're all
Exactly.
family here. So my name's Lindsay. My daughter Emmy plays Little Cosette and Young Eponine on tour with Les Mis.
that's
so I'm a tour mom.
You're a tour mom, and this is, come on in. We're doing ThNOT. We are
All
live.
right.
Yeah, we're talking about parents on tour and
okay.
kids on tour.
And Sully perfectly
exactly.
introed
Just
that.
Introed that
Without even trying.
incredibly well. So, all right, Lindsay. Now this is not your first tour
Right.
with Emmy. So how did you get started in the kind of like the tour realm?
Yeah. So this is our second tour. Emmy toured with Mrs. Doubtfire, the musical, for 12 months. She did 2 6-month contracts, so the kids have 6-month contracts. And a lot of people always ask me that, like, how does that work for kids? Like, it's not the same as adults. They have a lot more protections in place in a good way for the kids. So we did the first 6 months with Mrs. Doubtfire in the first national tour. She played Natalie Hillard, and then they asked her to renew, and we stayed for not quite through the end of the tour. We wanted her to go back home and go to school in person, but joke's on us because
Here you are.
we were in her last city with Mrs. Doubtfire. So she closed in Vegas 12 months in, and it was like Tuesday of the one, we just had 1 week in Vegas. So like tour life is like Monday is a day off, golden day, or travel day, and then Tuesday we were going to like our company meeting on Tuesdays with Mrs. Doubtfire, and her agent called like as we were at the call board signing in on her first like Tuesday show. She's like, "You're gonna go do Les Mis." So we went home for 3 weeks and then came back out.
Just enough time to repack. Or I should say repack.
We didn't even reconfigure for sure. Yeah. So we had kind of gotten used to like, living in suitcases, all the things that you guys do as a family. I feel like it's different for families. And one of the things that was really, really nice about coming to be with you guys is that we knew about you all from other friends of ours that had worked on Les Mis and knew that you guys were traveling, as a family, which was really important to us. And we had that with Mrs. Doubtfire too. So Rob and Maggie,
who played Mrs. Doubtfire.
They were. We joked that they were like getting divorced on stage 8 times a week. Their daughter.
What a good way to get your friends out.
I mean, you know what I mean?
They're very happily married.
Yes.
So incredible, and they're such amazing parents, just like you and Christine are.
Thank you.
So it was just really amazing to tour with them and for the kids to have Sadie, like they have Sully backstage, and it was a family affair.
It does, and here's the thing: is that like I say that like Sully for me keeps me very humble because listen, I can play Jean Valjean at night, but then in the morning I'm always dead. So I'm always like, get up, wake up, I need breakfast. So that definitely keeps you humble. So touring with a kiddo, what are some of the challenges that you find touring with a kid?
Someone asked a question I saw it pop up for a second, like
about
what was
schooling. Yes, and we'll get to that. Yeah.
So I was gonna say that's like definitely a factor.
Okay.
Schooling is unique. It's not a challenge per se. It's just like
YouTube and look me up and see if we are live still. And if we are, we're going to continue this conversation as we try to do this because
maybe we'll multitask. You could do
we'll
a song and dance.
multitask. Exactly.
Diddy.
But it's very interesting to do. Ooh. Does it say that we're still live? Or are we
I'm looking at my phone.
Oh yeah, okay, we are still live. Okay, we're back. We hope that everybody's still with us. So schooling is something that is different on the tour. And if you are not live and you are watching this, maybe sign off and sign back on, or maybe something like that. I don't know, but we are still here. So schooling is definitely something that is a challenge, but the way that from my understanding, the way that it also works is that the teacher out here on the road is in touch with the school district that they belong to in their home city or home state, and so then they are given the curriculum, and then our teacher out here,
I mean, there's kids that do like an online program.
Yeah.
We live in Illinois, and unfortunately, our home public school district wouldn't allow Emmy to stay enrolled, so we had to unenroll her and then work to get the curriculum that we wanted that worked for us. So we have, that was a make it work moment.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of kids that are in private schools where they are allowed to stay enrolled, and the teachers on the road will work. We had an educational consultant last year that basically was someone that we knew at home that was familiar with what Emmy should have been doing at home if we were home, and was able to be that resource for her teacher.
That's fantastic.
This year, second year in, we kind of knew the drill, and so we were able to make it work ourselves a little bit more. But our goal for us is for her to be able to reintegrate into life back home when the time comes.
Exactly, because again, this is not forever, right? And I think that, like you were saying with the kids, it's different. They are on 6-month contracts because kids grow, and they can outgrow the role, and they can get bigger. And so that's one of the things and challenges, right, with a show like Les Mis that has children, is that every 6 months we come up to a place where, are we getting a brand new set of kids? Are some kids staying? Are some kids leaving? And so luckily, all the kids are staying with us, which we are also excited about, because we just, again, you become a family with the children out here and with their parents, and we all kind of bond together out here as parents and traveling across the country and all of those things. So it's
been really fun. We're thankful to be able to do it with people who are willing to do life with kids, and we can all be together, and one of our kiddos could be having a day, because that's life. These,
and there's no judgment. We're just
okay,
you're just
great. You need to take your kid to go to the bed.
Good. Let's do
a
it.
minute. It's been good.
So being on Doubtfire and now being on Les Mis, what do you think over the course of your time touring? What has been the hardest thing, outside of trying to figure out all the schooling thing? What has been the hardest thing for you?
I would say just being away from all of the things. The same thing that I think it is for adults.
You're away from home.
You're away from home, your support system. Thankfully, my husband and I we both work full time, but we're flexible enough in our work to be able to trade off to travel with her. In 2 weeks, my husband and son are coming out for their, when Eli's on spring break, they'll come, we'll be in Florida together. Yes. And then when the summer hits, we'll stay together all summer.
All together, which is just awesome.
Yeah.
Which is
that was
just
our
great.
favorite part about last year, favorite part about this summer.
So now that we've talked about the hard part, what has been your favorite part about touring?
I think just the fact, when I look back at all the places that we've traveled, I mean, you could have Emmy sitting there talking about schooling again, reading about something in her social studies book, or you could be at the Underground Railroad Museum in Cincinnati, learning about all of this. It's been really. It's
when I asked
amazing.
Sully, what's one of your favorite cities you've been to, and she's like, San Francisco, because I got to see the Golden Gate Bridge. When I didn't see that as a kid, until I was an adult, pretty much. So the fact that we were getting to travel the country and see parts of the country and all these different museums and historical sites that unless you piled into the station wagon as a kid and drove across
you guys are so good about doing fun stuff with her too, and being a part of the cities that you're in. We'll look ahead. Actually, this is a fun thing that I should tell you guys about. We looked up Jacksonville because we're going to be on spring break. There's a candy factory in Jacksonville in walking distance of the hotel and the theater that has gummy making classes and chocolate. She can't even hear me, but we're gonna all have to go do it together. There's so many random fun things.
Here's something fun. Fort Worth, where we're going next. We're right now in Salt Lake City. It's our third week here. In Fort Worth, at the Arlington Art Museum, they have a Disney collection of costumes and, because we're going, a Wicked movie costume collection right now that they're doing this big thing. So these are things that are these are things that Charlotte will probably be in her Glinda dress. These are things that are fun and exciting and cool, because it also having kids out on tour. The thing that I love about having kids out on tour is and this is before I had my own child, was the holidays, because it's a lot of people don't you're away from your family, you're away from your friends, and so we as a tour family do try to make that special. And so last year at Easter, and we'll do that this year at Easter, there's an Easter egg hunt through the theater.
Oh, so fun.
On the matinee, before the matinee, they'll go and they'll hide eggs through the house at the theater, and the kids will go out and hunt for eggs. And there's they're invited to the holiday parties, and they're invited to things because they are a part of our company, and I think that is really exciting and a really cool thing.
Yeah.
So if there was a parent out there that would like to like have their, if they're like, you know what, I think my child would really love to do this.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
I think it's something that we worked with Emmy on a lot. She had a very like fast and furious
start into it.
start into all of this that like frankly when I look back like really was, I don't want to say on accident because obviously she was interested in performing. Like as a parent you don't like put your kid in community theater if they don't like are not having fun, right? So like she was definitely interested. So to say like it happened on accident, but like she had done like one community theater production with like our educational theater. Shout out to Roadshow. I'll give them a little like shout out because we love them. But they're in our hometown in the suburbs of Chicago, and she played Molly and Annie, and like the girl that played Miss Hannigan was like 11, and it was just like the cutest, sweetest, most amazing experience for her, and she absolutely fell in love. And then she like went straight from that into understudying professionally at our regional theater at home in Chicago. So that like is not normal,
right?
So my advice,
there's a different path for everybody.
Yes. My advice to that would be just keep going, don't give up. There's so much that's subjective about this industry for adults or for kids. Like there's so many kids that could go out there and do this and be amazing. And so, you know, the idea that like feeling like you're not good enough or you need to like spend a ton of money on like expensive training or whatever, like yes, all those resources are amazing. There's a lot of privilege that goes into being able to attain these goals that kids may have. But I think like as long as they're finding something that they love doing, keep doing, don't give up. And as a parent, if there's anything you can do, like I have so many, although my husband and I, we're not performers, like this is not us living vicariously through our kid.
But you're in the arts.
I own a photography studio, and my husband's an engineer, but he works in sales, but like he plays the bass guitar, like, you know, like we have
you're artistic. Just not on the stage.
We appreciate the arts as consumers.
There you
like
go.
We have been taking our kids to see live theater and things since they were very, very little. But all that to be said, that like I've had so many other friends of mine that did have a background in dance or in performance or singing or whatever else that passed them by, right? Like different. The wind took them in a different direction, different stages of life, whatever. And so now like they're in their 30s and they're like, they see what we're doing. And I'm not even kidding you, like 10 different people have told me this over the last 2 years. Like, I wish my parents did what you guys have done, which is essentially just making the sacrifices to like believe that they could do it and see what happens. That's my advice. That's great. Is like see what happens.
Making the sacrifices because you believe they can do it.
Because you don't know.
You don't know until they get out there. And you know what? They might hate it. They might hate it the first time and they'd be like, yeah, I thought I was going to love this and I don't. And you know what? Then you're like, great.
Our son hates it. That's a funny story. So he did with the same, Emmy continued to do, and will continue to do community theater and educational theater as she grows. And so they were doing Seussical. This is like the summer after Emmy and Annie, the next summer. Okay, so this is like right before we left for Doubtfire. So we had known that she had booked Doubtfire, but we hadn't left yet. So we went and did Seussical with the same community theater. And they needed, if you guys are familiar with Seussical theater people, an elephant bird. Which is like the cutest little cameo. Like the elephant and the bird have a baby and it's a hatch and an egg and you don't do anything. You just literally stand up and go like tweet tweet, and that's like the end, and it's the cutest thing ever. So we convinced him to do it, and he had the cutest little costume,
of course, and
it was 2 nights, it was 2 shows,
that was it.
And he did the first one, and he goes, Mama, can you call Miss Carrie, who is the director or you know whatever over all of it, and tell her that I'm good. Like
I need the
I don't want to do it anymore.
I need the understanding.
Like I did it once. Like he did not like the attention. He did not like people looking at him. He felt like even though everyone was like loving him, and so he's like my engineering kid. He loves STEM. He loves like
there you go
Lego stuff, and I will never force him. He's done like a couple of commercials with Emmy when they needed real siblings. And he'll do it when he's like with her.
Right.
But other than that, he's like no. He likes music. He likes to drum. Like he's gonna be in the orchestra. He's gonna be in the orchestra if he wants to. Like he's gonna do something else. He's gonna play that bass guitar. He's gonna be
like, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me and talking to me, because I know that there's one last question.
Yeah.
If there are parents out there that are like, how do we find out about auditions? Where do we look? What do we do? How do you find out about auditions like this?
So Emmy has an agent. There's open calls. I mean, like for Les Mis,
there are open calls, and they do post them. They will post them. Follow the Les Mis US account. And they will post if they are looking for.
I would say, like in general, like depending on the city that you live in, like in Chicago, we have a ton of amazing regional theaters that like your kid could very happily work like regional shows and be happy and be good, and they're amazing. So like a lot of times, like their websites will have like
auditions.
You can
always
then,
call their box office and be like, is there a website or how do I find out about these auditions? Yeah.
And then like playbill.com too, like a lot of adult actors get their resources there. Like there's EPAs, which is another conversation for like adults of like what that is. But usually kids shouldn't need to like, if you see an EPA, it's an equity public audition.
Yes.
So you don't need to drag your kid to that and wait around. Like they'll usually just contact
there will
the
be a
theater.
specific audition for kids because a lot of the time it's more streamlined for kids, right? And it's not, it's like everybody, we go in and we have fun and it's not that big of a thing. But anyway, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank
Lindsay,
you.
for chatting with me, and I hope that the internet out there worked.
Got to even see
this, and we will repost it, obviously, and always drop your questions, and if we can answer them and get an answer to you, then we will. And until then, we will see you on Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
Because we close on a matinee here, so we do a Saturday Saturday matinee SNOT, a Saturday matinee on tour. Yeah, Saturday morning on tour. It'll feel like it. So we will talk with you all then. And until then, we'll tune in next week. We are going to have Brendan Stackhouse back with us. We had a problem with the internet last week. We're going to have him back with us next week to talk about resident directing and what all that entails. And then we've got a couple of cast members also coming up in the following weeks after that. So we'll see you all then. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.